Some gamers love the feel of demolishing their favorite RPG, whilst others hate themselves for resorting to what they see as one step up from cheating. But there's no denying overpowered weapons are prevalent in almost every title. I'm Jess from WhatCulture, and here are 10 overpowered weapons that broke RPGs. Number 10. Buster Sword, Final Fantasy VII. Undoubtedly one of the most iconic weapons in the Final Fantasy series, the Buster Sword is Cloud's default weapon in the 7th entry and its 2020 remake. What makes it one of the standout starter weapons in the game is how well-rounded its stats are, improving Cloud's durability as well as offering some impressive magic attack and attack power stats. The giant broadsword has an initial base stat of 22 in magic attack and attack power, with both being able to be perked up to a maximum of 91. It also carries with it abilities that grant a 10% boost to a player's MP regeneration and a 5% boost to their limit break damage. It also comes with a handy 96% base accuracy total, making it one of the best feeling entry-level RPG weapons. For players who might not know what sort of build they're looking to branch out into, there are few weapons as versatile as Buster Sword. Whilst it works as a versatile option for magic builds, its strengths probably just about make it a better option for those looking to focus on the melee side of things. Number 9. Leviathan Axe, God of War. The Leviathan Axe is a solid reminder that sometimes the most overpowered RPG weapons can be the ones that a player starts off their adventure with. The Leviathan Axe is Kratos' main offensive weapon in God of War, and was designed to be kinda like an anti-Mjolnir, as the player prepares to go against the Nordic god Thor. But whilst the lore behind the weapon is undoubtedly badass, where the axe drifts into the overpowered category is in how players are able to constantly upgrade it as they progress through the game. With 6 unique levels, the Leviathan Axe has several runes across its handle that allow it to be infused with different powers, such as ice effects through frozen flames or the ability to have it recalled from anywhere on the map. The blade also has slots for 2 runic attacks to be placed, a heavy and a light, and it can be upgraded even further with the weapon's blade being made bigger in exchange for a frozen flame. Out of all the weapon's wide range of attacks, the Leviathan's Fury is undoubtedly the one that will make players feel like a true god, dealing a huge amount of explosive frost damage for the cost of just 175 runic. Number 8. Heavy Bowgun, Monster Hunter World. 2018's Monster Hunter World had some of the biggest monsters the series had ever served up following its release. However, a weapon like the heavy bowgun is exactly what players needed to even up the odds. The go-to choice for players looking to make a character build capable of dealing the maximum amount of damage. As the highest DPS weapon in the game, the heavy bowgun is at its best when it is relentlessly firing sustained ranged attacks, racking up the numbers and making mincemeat of an enemy's health bar. The weapon is slightly cumbersome to wield, taking 1 second to draw and 2 to put away. However, the benefits far outweigh those small frustrations. For starters, as well as packing the biggest punch in terms of damage, the weapon has a far larger ammo capacity than the light bowgun, and a much more manageable recoil despite its size. The heavy bowgun also has 1 more mod than the light bowgun and access to more powerful types of ammo. The heavy bowgun has become the face of Monster Hunter World, and is still the best weapon most builds choose to center their perks around when they want to feel like an absolute Terminator. Number 7. Dawnbreaker, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. The Wabbajack, Nightingale Bow, Mehrunes Razor, all weapons that have garnered a reputation for being overpowered in Skyrim, still don't quite compare to this one, as few weapons are as well-rounded and easily obtainable as Dawnbreaker, the Daedric sword rewarded by Meridia. Once players hit level 12 in the game, they'll stumble across a mysterious orb named Meridia's Beacon. The unskippable monologue from the Daedric god is fairly infamous, but the reward at the end of her Break of Dawn quest is worth the slight ear bashing she gives. Dawnbreaker is a one-handed sword with a base damage of 12 and a weight of 10. Fitting with the Daedric god's disdain for the undead, the weapon also burns enemies like Draugr and vampires for 10 points, with the chance to trigger a fiery explosion in an AoE effect on other enemies around. The weapon has a noticeably higher number of charges than other enchanted weaponry, but it's all about that explosive effect that makes Dawnbreaker so overpowered in certain environments. With heavy-hitting enemies like Master Vampires or Draugr Deathlords usually followed around by smaller, more manageable enemies, the chance to completely wipe through otherwise challenging environments in one go is a pretty godlike experience. Number 6. AERONDIGHT, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Any article centered around overpowered RPG weapons is not complete without a section talking about how absurd The Witcher 3's AERONDIGHT is. A legendary weapon that's appeared in all 3 entries in the series. Players can obtain AERONDIGHT through the Blood and Wine DLC after completing the There Can Only Be One mission. The weapon stands out not only in the series but also in role-playing games in general, due to the fact that it actually improves the more a player uses it, rather than it wearing down or running out of charge. AERONDIGHT will gain charges with each successful hit, and increase the sword's damage by 10%. It only takes 10 charges for the sword to reach its full charge, after which it will begin to glow to let players know it's ready to be let loose. When AERONDIGHT hits a 100% charge, it will always deliver a critical blow to an enemy, and killing an enemy whilst it's fully charged will permanently increase the weapon's damage. Given how the weapon is the only one of its kind that levels with a player, AERONDIGHT remains an absolute go-to for those looking to rampage around feeling like a true monster slayer. Number 5. UCHIGATANA, Elden Ring. In a game with difficulty as notorious as Elden Ring, having a powerful weapon in their arms is an absolute necessity for players. Thankfully, UCHIGATANA is available right from the off, as the first katana players can pick up in the game. With a slash and pierce damage type and blood loss of 45 passive damage effects, the weapon is an incredibly versatile choice that a player can very easily have equipped for the bulk of their playthrough. Like with the other entry items on this list, UCHIGATANA is a very viable pick for players looking to scale either dexterity or strength. When combined with the Keen upgrade, the katana will be granted a 23+ scaling for dexterity, whilst a +23 scaling upgrade for strength will be applied with a heavy perk. The weapon can even be infused with Ashes of War, elevating it even further in our OP checklist. What's more, whilst the UCHIGATANA is the starting weapon for the samurai class, any class can pick it up at Death Touch Catacombs. Number 4. LOTHRIC Knight Sword, Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 is another game notorious for pulling no punches when it comes to its difficulty, but thankfully also has a number of weapons capable of making things far more manageable. Another weapon on this list that excels because of its versatility, the LOTHRIC Knight Sword is an item any type of build can excel with. Easily obtained by farming Lothric Knights on the High Wall of Lothric, the weapon is one of only 2 in the game to have a 110 critical modifier, with the other being the short sword. As well as its critical modifier, the weapon also boasts a motion value of 220 on a backstab and 275 on a riposte. With its +10, it also has the potential for A and S tier scaling, with almost any infusion in the game. In total, the Lothric Knight Sword is capable of reaching anywhere between 215 and 275 overall damage for the different builds on offer, which, coupled with the incredible reach of the weapon, makes it a real fan favorite with players. Number 3. Sweet Katana, South Park: The Stick of Truth. Yes, we're back at it again with the cool katanas. As role-playing video games go, South Park: The Stick of Truth certainly has a wide range of options when it comes to the weapons and items on offer. Some builds can make the game feel like an absolute breeze, but the Sweet Katana still stands as the best melee weapon of choice. Unlike other weapons on this list, the Sweet Katana is by no means an entry-level weapon capable of picking up and running with from the get-go. Only available from level 14 onwards, it's purchasable from Jimbo's Guns for a whopping $75, making it one of the most expensive items in the game. But it is absolutely worth every cent by standing as easily the best weapon out there. The Obsidian Shard perk is one of the most powerful effects, doing 30% more damage on every attack. The Rend perk attached to the weapon also has the ability to remove 200 armor on a perfect attack, helping to take out one of the most infuriating mechanics in the game. Number 2. CZ57 Avenger, Fallout New Vegas. One of the reasons why Fallout New Vegas has the cult following it still boasts today is due to its wide range of unique and charming weapons, which players can get their hands on. But none come close to matching the sheer power of the CZ57 Avenger. A variant of the standard railgun, the CZ57 Avenger is found in a blue truck in the Devil's Throat, and still stands as the most powerful weapon in the game. When maxed out with gun skills and perks, the Avenger is capable of producing a whopping 649.7 DPS rating. Obviously, wielding such a heavy item comes with certain drawbacks that some builds might be better steering clear of, the cumbersome mobility and reduced magazine size of 80 being the main two. Nevertheless, the weapon still comes with a high-speed motor mod already attached, and is far more accurate over long distances, making it more than a match for any foe found on the wastelands. Number 1. GETH Pulse Rifle, Mass Effect 2. There are a huge array of options for players in Mass Effect 2 when it comes to weaponry. Different guns have different characteristics, and the greater emphasis on making the game more of a third-person shooter can make some of those characteristics quite impactful. By far, the number 1 assault rifle in Mass Effect 2 is the GETH Pulse Rifle. This one is only obtainable by completing Tali's recruitment mission on either hardcore or insanity difficulty, but boy oh boy is this assault rifle worth getting a hold of. Firing a rapid stream of energy bolts, the assault rifle comes with a helpfully low recoil, a spare ammo capacity of up to 528, and is the absolute go-to when it comes to taking down shields. With a base damage of 10.8, the rifle gets a 1.15 times multiplier on armor, and a hefty 1.35 multiplier against shields and barriers. The GETH Pulse Rifle made an appearance in Mass Effect 3, but it seemed like BioWare came to their senses when developing it again, because they noticeably gave the weapon a pretty hefty nerf. That is the end of our list, but let me know down in that comment section if you can think of any other overpowered weapons that broke RPGs. As always, I've been Jess from WhatCulture. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you like, you can come say hi to me on my Twitter account where I'm @JessMcDonnell, but make sure you stay tuned to us here for plenty more great gaming lists.